Welcome to Health for Wealth Now. I'm Alex Lyon introducing Qiara. Qiara is a probiotic brand and I'm here with the CEO and founder, Helen Lyon.
Wonderful to see you here, Alex.
Thanks.
It's just such a joy to be here.
Tell us about Qiara, and in 2012 you've launched these products. Tell us about the background and the why and how it's helping so many of us.
So interestingly, Qiara was the world's first probiotic originating from good bacteria in breast milk. So you can imagine in 2012, nobody was talking about probiotics. Gut health wasn't a thing. And a lot of the research that was done was very, very early days. I had the opportunity to travel to Europe and meet with the researchers. And as a result of that, came back to Australia, and Australian mothers became the first in the world to actually have the benefit of a probiotic that originated from breast milk. And it was thought that it was really just for breastfeeding mothers. But as we've found as research has gone on, and we've produced a wider range, that it's just wonderful for everybody.
And it is. And personally, having used it, I've started off with this one.
Yeah.
Which was wonderful, pre-pregnancy even. It was this is your first product.
Yes, that was the first one. Yep.
This one here.
That was 2012. That one came to market.
That's right. And even before having my daughter 9 years ago this year, this was the pregnancy breastfeeding. And then Olivia had this, my daughter. And then obviously now she has the kids and I have the adult.
Yeah, the everyday.
And it's just really changed my world. And tell me a bit more, and tell our viewers especially why it's making such an impact, because of it's more about prevention instead of, you know, making sure that it's not just after antibiotics, it's not just because of colds and flus.
Look, and I think one thing that happened throughout COVID, we became far more conscious of our own health and actually improving our own health, and it became a priority. I mean, you can imagine 2012, well, I might have as well been an alien talking about probiotics and what the good bacteria could do for you. But since COVID, we've been far more focused on that. And we know now so many things between the gut-brain axis. We know that the gut is the centre of our immune system as well. And, you know, there's so many probiotics out there, but the really interesting thing about probiotics that originate from breast milk is, if we think about it, breast milk's our first food as humans, yeah? So it's a thing that sets up our gut health. It sets up our immune system really for life. That's where it begins. So the probiotic in Qiara, the probiotic strain in Qiara, what it is, we call it like a foundation strain, and it tends to the community of bacteria in your gut. There's a lot of talk out there around probiotics that have, you know, 10 different strains and so many billions, but it's not about that. We're talking about a really fine balance. This is where Qiara is fabulous, and we like to call it the gardener rather than the seed. You know, tend to the environment. It's gentle, but it's very powerful, as you can imagine, gentle because where it's originating from, but really powerful. And I guess what I love is we went from having some interesting research in 2012 and no stockists in 2012 to today. I guess for me, it's the stories. It's the stories from people like yourself, but so many stories around how Qiara has, you know, helped their gut, helped their immune system. I had one mum that I loved this story. She was petrified of getting mastitis, and that was what Qiara pregnancy and breastfeeding is known for. And she said, I have an immune neutropenia issue. I took Qiara to prevent mastitis, but I've had gut problems all my life and they all went away. And that's the sort of stories we hear all of the time.
Well, I know it's changed my world. It's been phenomenal for my immune system, and now knowing I'm a celiac too, but it's even helped with recovery after accidentally having gluten and lactose. I know a lot of people share stories about this. It's not only I've seen the results in the gut health, but skin, and, you know, you can be around someone with a cold or a flu.
Yeah.
And you bounce back, you might get it, but not for long.
Yeah, my sister's celiac, and as you know, we travel a lot together, and there's always Qiara every day. But, you know, if she gets an attack, it's, you know, straight away, double Qiaras and all of the things to help her. I guess one of the shifts that we've seen, because you can imagine 2012, how we actually started to get this product to market was going door to door and talking to health professionals in the belief if they understood the science, they would try it with their patients, they'd see a good result, and those patients would tell their friends. And that's really where we kind of started from, and back in the day when we first introduced you to Qiara Pregnancy and Breastfeeding. But what I see now is that as we're more conscious of staying well rather than fixing our health when something goes wrong, we're starting to see people taking Qiara now and their families and their children to actually stay well, which is really, really important.
And it is. And you've set up a club now too. Tell us about the club for these practitioners.
So one of the things that I loved about this world that I've been working in is just some of the amazing business people that I've met along the way. And I think we've all got the same customer, and we're all providing a different story or a different service or a different product to this customer. So I had this idea of starting the Qiara Life Club, where one, we could obviously promote the benefits of Qiara through education. So it's an educational platform, but also we established a thing called the Friends of Qiara. And so far we've promoted, I think, 32 small businesses, and this is at no charge, but with the aim of supporting, and most of these have all been women actually, women in business who are supporting families, supporting with their products or their services. And why shouldn't we all promote each other and actually build that community? So I think there's a lot more to go with the Qiara Life Club, because small business is hard. And really, we all have to bandy together, and we shouldn't necessarily, and we don't compete, in the Qiara Life Club, we don't compete. We just offer some wonderful things for for our customers, for our joint customers. So that's really lovely. So
the entrepreneurs, the 32 people you're working with, what industry? Is it just in health? Are they naturopaths?
There's quite a variety. I remember when I first started this, I begged three or four people to become a friend of Qiara, and we had no club members. That's just 18 months ago, and now we've got over 6,000, and we've promoted 32 businesses, and we continue to promote them as well. We're going to do some ongoing things, but they vary between, baby skincare to midwifery classes to first aid to cosmetics. We've got beautiful Adorn cosmetics this time because, again, Australian-made, Australian products. We've had podcasters. We've had a really wide variety of different, and they're just wonderful, wonderful women and business owners, and takes a village, doesn't it?
It does.
So, I love the Qiara Life Club, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot more from there. And I think probably through some of the work is where we start to talk, you and I were talking about preventative health before and how important it is.
And it is. And tell us more about how Qiara promotes that and really does support that.
Yeah. Well, I like to illustrate it through stories, and we've been trying to educate people around what's the importance of your gut microbiome and how it is your first line barrier of your health. And you and I always say health is your wealth, and you can't enjoy your life unless you've got health. And that's all people want for their families as well. So some of my favourite reviews that I've got from mums, and quite often they just email me as well, say, my children spend more time at school playing with their friends and less time at home and being sick. And as working families, as most of our families are now, it usually means if the kid's got to come home from daycare or from school, somebody's got to take off work and actually look after the child. So it actually, again, has this our health has this ripple effect across the families, doesn't it?
Oh, it does.
Whether it be yourself, you always have to pay for daycare, whether you're taking it or not. But, you may have to rely on parents or grandparents or all of those sorts of things.
So the ripple effect's immense.
Yeah.
So Qiara, tell us a bit more about the product itself and where it's made, how it's made, what the plans are with it in the future. Are you still producing and evolving it?
Yeah. So interesting. Most people don't understand where probiotics come from. And one of the first things that I hear is, where do you get the breast milk from? Because it's a probiotic that originates from breast milk. So all probiotics basically is good bacteria isolated from a source, and that could be bowel flora, it could be fruit, fermented foods, or in our case, it's actually breast milk. And the cells that are isolated are actually kept then in a master cell bank, and working cell banks are created, and it's fermented, so it's the same all of the time. So there's not women donating breast milk at all. It's actually fermented, but that's why the properties are so good, because obviously in that process of producing the product in the first place, there was, 10 years of testing and analysis and genome sequencing and all of those sorts of things. So, which is kind of fascinating. So most people don't realise that. They think, and I think there's still a lot of education that we need to do around probiotics as what are the differences between them, because it's definitely not go and throw 10 or 15 different strains with really, really big numbers in there. That's probably the bomb the gut, because you run the risk of causing an imbalance. Yeah, what we want to do is tend the garden that is our microbiome. That's
it, and not have too much one or the other. This is the two, which a lot of people don't realise. And this being from the breast milk, fermented breast milk, it's very different to the plant-based probiotics.
So it's not fermented breast milk, right?
Explain that a bit more.
Yeah, so it's not fermented breast milk. The source is breast milk, and it's good bacteria that evolves from there, and it's the bacteria that is grown. Yeah,
from there.
Some people say, is it like sourdough? Oh, yeah, I guess it is in that whole fermentation process. And then, so we manufacture here in Australia. Qiara comes in sachets. I think I've got one here.
And I just put it down the hatch with a big glass of water or milk so I don't miss one little crumb.
I do the same, sachet. And the really nice, easy thing about it, as you would know, is, you give it a shake, put it in your smoothie or with your yogurt or
down the hatch quickly.
Or down the hatch quickly, which is what I often do as well. But the difference between the four products is only in dose. Yeah. So whatever's age appropriate for you or your age and stage in your life. So we say anybody who's got, from teens to social seniors, should we say, for the Qiara every day. And that's double the dose of Qiara Kids. And Qiara Infant is half that dose, and Qiara Pregnancy and Breastfeeding is actually double the dose of this. Really, really important for, mums and babies. When you're taking Qiara Pregnancy and Breastfeeding while you're breastfeeding, through your breast milk, both mum and baby will benefit. So
it's phenomenal.
And we hear so many stories of women who've had breastfeeding complications, breast pain, mastitis, who've said, Qiara saved their breastfeeding journey. We have infants who have been really, really unsettled, had colic symptoms, but it's really suitable for everybody. And the message that we're trying to get to is just look after your health. Just add it to part of your daily routine, and no one's ever sorry.
Absolutely not.
No one's ever sorry when it comes to Qiara. And the most rewarding thing that I've ever done in my life, and probably because I talk to lots of people, everyone from all ages. One of our wonderful testimonials we had recently was from a 65-year-old man who had problems with is dairy intolerant, and he had a lot of stress around finding a toilet all of the time. And Qiara, and especially when he was on a plane, and Qiara really changed his life. I had people who've had issues with thrush in their throat. Now, the product's not indicated for that, but comes back to our gut microbiome, our health, looking after our gut, because it affects everything. It affects people with skin conditions. All of people with acne will often have gut problems. So much and all as we don't research for some of those conditions, but what we see is improvement in every area of the body because we're creating that balance. And I love that, mums just say, my kids love taking Qiara because they feel better. How good's that? An 8 or a 9-year-old who actually feels better and has had more fun with their friends, and
Oh, it's unbelievable. My 8-year-old, when she's not having it, she gets the colds and they last for a week or so, and if she is having it,
she doesn't get them.
She doesn't get them. No. She might get a little sniffle for a day and that's it.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. It's been very, very and it's been life-changing for me as well. Been life-changing for me too. And in answer to your question, we continue to evolve. We continue to education's a really important part. You know, with the Qiara Life Club, we've also got a program on there called the First 1,000 Days. And the first 1,000 days of life, which from pregnancy until the baby's 2, and just taking you through different stages. Some really interesting education in there that was put together by a nutritionist for us. So that's another just free benefit. And Qiara Life Club's also free to join.
This is phenomenal. And hearing about this 65-year-old man, viewers, even if you're male, you don't have to worry about being a breastfeeding mother or pregnant or an infant who's just starting out in life and needs some extra immune system boosting. Jump onto qiara.com.au and jump onto this club. I'm going to.
Yes, absolutely. Some wonderful offers this time.
And it's not just for healthcare professionals.
No. This is for everybody. Absolutely for everybody.
This is exciting. Thank you so much, Helen, the founder and CEO of Qiara. Thank you so much for watching. We'll bring more Health for Wealth Now stories to you shortly, and make sure you keep balanced.